My guest at this time is Rob Cornilles. He is the Republican nominee for the U.S. House of Representatives in the 1st Congressional District of Oregon. On January 31st, that's the deadline for voters in that district to have mailed their ballots back in. And this is a traditionally Democratic district, but recent polling suggests that Mr. Cornilles has a decent shot of picking this seat up for the GOP. He joins me now to explain the thrust of his campaign and what he's hearing from voters out on the trail. And Rob, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the chance to visit with you and your listeners.
You ran for this seat back in November of 2010. At that time, Congressman David Wu was the incumbent Democrat. He won with about 55% of the vote. So, as I mentioned before, this tilts to the Democratic side, certainly. Obviously, since then, he's had a host of problems, ended up resigning the seat. What made you confident that just a few months later, a little bit over a year later, you could win this seat and make up that gap from a little over a year ago?
Well, the reasons I ran originally were because of the economy in Oregon and the country as a whole. Unemployment in our state continues to be above the national average, as it has been for 15 straight years. And we have such a dynamic district in the 1st. It's centered in downtown Portland. The business district heads all the way out to the Oregon coast and is full of some of the biggest, most dynamic companies and industries our state has to offer. And we have simply been underrepresented, and now we're the only district in the country that has no representation. And as a small business owner who started a company 16 years ago and has employed 60 people over those years, I have simply felt that our interests have not been represented. We've had a very ineffective voice in Congress when he was in office, and our economic situation in Oregon is not getting much better. And so people, I think, are now looking to go in a different direction. They're recognizing that the choices we've made in the past have consequences. And so this is why we see a surge in the poll right now that's come out recently, and we certainly are feeling it on the campaign trail as well as all the bipartisan endorsements we're getting.
What do you see as the biggest hindrance to job creation in your district? You mentioned it's got several prominent companies, which would probably lead most people to think it's doing okay compared to the rest of the country. But what is the current economic climate in your district?
Well, we do have the largest contingent of Intel employees in the world are in the 1st District, along with Nike is headquartered here, and Columbia Sportswear. But we're very, very strong in small businesses. But small businesses, as we all know, are struggling right now for two main reasons. First of all, they don't really see certainty on the horizon because legislation coming out of Washington is frankly just a Band-Aid approach. In fact, the legislation that's coming out right now doesn't give us any predictability, and so we don't have confidence to risk and invest and hire. And also with the regulatory burden that so many small businesses are feeling right now, whether it's we have agricultural businesses and timber industry and fisheries, for example, so whether that's EPA regulation, whether it's the financial services because of the handcuffs that they feel that they're in right now due to Dodd-Frank, or simply the health care situation in our country, with the uncertainty there and high costs that we continue to look at, small businesses are sitting on their hands. In fact, some of them are just sitting on the sidelines ready to hit the showers, and they need an advocate from this district, someone who's been in their shoes, who is in their shoes, who knows what we need to have confidence to move forward and hire people.
You're running against Democratic State Senator Suzanne Bonamici. What do you see as the strongest differences between the two of you?
Well, I think it's very clear that her record in Salem, which has been unremarkable to say the least, she advocates for continued taxes on small businesses. In fact, she does not deny that she was recently quoted that she never saw a tax increase or fee hike while in the legislature that she ever voted against. And she has a terrific record of raising small business taxes, and we can't afford that. She's not been friendly to small business, and so as an attorney, simply that's her being her background. With her husband being David Wu's former personal attorney, I think voters in the 1st District are recognizing that giving another vote to the establishment, giving it to someone who constrains jobs as opposed to me who creates jobs, would not be a wise investment. Would not be a good move when our state desperately needs more leadership.
We're talking with Rob Cornilles, who's the Republican nominee for Congress in Oregon's 1st Congressional District. Sir, as I mentioned at the outset, this is a mail-in election, and so it's not like everyone goes to the polls on January 31st. How does that change the way you go about this campaign, knowing that it's quite possible that a lot of people have already voted?
Well, they have voted, certainly. Of course, we see traditionally that the majority of the votes, the vast majority, come in the last weekend. So we are really being very aggressive in our Get Out the Vote effort. Our volunteer force is fantastic. They're charged up. We're getting help from all over the state, not just the district, because we all remember what happened in 2010. That tidal wave that seemed to sweep across the country, starting on the East Coast, kind of petered out on the West Coast. But Oregonians view this now as an opportunity to reverse the tidal wave. Since this is the first federal election of 2012, we want to start a tidal wave in the Oregon's 1st district that the rest of the country can enjoy moving into this fall election. And so we're simply asking for people all over the country to help us, to go on cornillesforcongress.com and help us have the resources. The Democrats are definitely scared. They're definitely nervous. This is why they're throwing about $2 million all told negative ads against me. They obviously feel that they are in jeopardy of losing this seat, and so we need as much national support as we can to counter that attack.
Well, one other issue that I've noticed in recent ads, you mentioned job issues are number one, but Obamacare seems to be another one. You had an ad out talking about piece by piece how what would appear to be Ms. Bonamici's support of the president's health care plan would be detrimental for seniors. She's firing back with an ad from, I guess, some seniors organization in Oregon that suggests that your ad is inaccurate. Where does this stand, and how big of an issue is the president's health care plan in this campaign?
Well, specifically, she has said that she didn't believe that the president's health care bill or law went far enough. And I'm saying that anytime you take $500 billion away from Medicare, you've gone way too far. And you know, I echo what Senator John Kerry said. He even admitted that the Democrats, in fact, he used the figure $550 billion from Medicare. And I've called her out on that, and the local newspaper just sees it her way, which is not a surprise. So I will continue to talk to seniors and the voters here, letting them know that her decision to support that is taking more money out of the pockets of seniors, especially those on Medicare Advantage, which in Oregon is about 250,000 seniors, and can't afford to take more money out of their pocket. Some are estimating that's close to $500 per person this year. It'll be close to $900 5 years from now, and that's the kind of change we can't afford. I want to fix health care by making it more affordable, not by continuing the track that we're on right now.
Well, Mr. Cornilles, we'll certainly be tracking this race. As we mentioned, people are already voting, but January 31st, we'll know for sure who will fill that seat for the rest of this year, and probably have to get ready right away for the November campaign. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us.
It's my pleasure, Greg. Thanks so much.
Rob Cornilles, Republican nominee for Congress in Oregon's 1st Congressional District. That's the special race to replace the resigned Democratic Congressman David Wu. Cornillesforcongress.com. That's Cornilles for Congress.com is his website. He is up against Democratic nominee Suzanne Bonamici. I'm Greg Columbus reporting for Radio America.